The same from FSR. Now Thien, he seems to be getting better every match, and he's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, Sanchez Ruiz was really struggling with a head cold, but you can tell he's much better today. I know he got a good night's rest last night here in Leicester, so that will certainly have helped. And this is the last match of the afternoon session on the main table. Sanchez Ruiz will be back on it later tonight.
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz.
This is one to really get you excited. He'll be playing Jason Shaw in that. But he's got this to take care of first, and he'll start us off. Watch the 9. Yeah. Oh, well, what a way to start that is.
Yeah, watch it disappear. And I was just going to say, it seems like the adjustment has been made for Ruiz from day one. We saw him break head on. He was frustrated so much in day one and put in a little time on the practice table, and it's paid off.
Similar story to his match against Soa, actually, because he had a golden break with his first attempt in that match, albeit that it was in the second rack after Soa had taken the first.
And I watched Thien practice quite a bit today and a little bit yesterday, and the more I watch him, I think we're going to see a lot more of him in the future, especially more of the bigger events he plays and
Luong Duc Thien to break.
Being around the top players. And tell you what, we just saw a shot on table 2, or I did, that Sanjin, he jumped, banked the 3, and it got about a foot in the air before it went into the side pocket. I hope we get another look at that.
Yeah, Pelovanovic is looking for a 2-0 lead against Wu Kunlin. Pelovanovic in really good shape. He's only lost 1 of his 6 so far.
Well, like Alex Laley said on day 1,
push out called.
A kid that is just, he wouldn't have called it, you know, for sure a guy that's going to win a lot of big tournaments, but he sure is improving every year, still very young. And it seems like he's heading in a great direction. Had a great trip to Las Vegas. Had a great World Games last year.
Yeah, he was very consistent throughout 2022. But nobody could that be said of more than this man, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, the world #1.
Yeah, and I don't know what word you would use, maybe a new one for what he did the last year, year and a half. Consistent, of course, is one of those words, but it's beyond that. Amazing is what comes to mind with me when I think about it.
Extension called.
Now, this doesn't seem like a lot of ball to jump over. Maybe just the distance is what had Ruiz pass on the jump shot here. Maybe not fearing his opponent's jump shot kind of prowess, right? Nine ball.
Ooh. I think if that had dropped in, it would have been the quickest we've ever got to 1-1 in a match in this tournament. Sanjin Pelovanovic has now gone 2-0 up against Wu Kunlin on table 2.
Now he's looking, can he really shoot the 2 off of his left side of the 2, run the cue ball around the purple 5, back up behind the 8 maybe, and really contain the 2. Otherwise, you may see him go after this 9 ball. Actually, I mean, you doubt it, but you got to figure it's probably some type of chip shot on the 2, like I said, and run the cue ball upstairs. And he's going to spin this around the purple 5 in between the 6 and 5. Oh, he's just going to hit it lightly. Oh, great touch.
Luong Duc Thien is ranked number 128 in the world. I think we all know he's going to get a lot higher than that. reached single elimination at the World Championship.
A lot better effort there with the short cue. Now in a safety position, and it's where he could just use the 7, thin the right side of the red. He could bank the 3 over and just kind of kill the cue ball behind the 7. That's the easy shot like this. And really smart not going forward with the cue ball. You know, your instinct is to go forward and lay on the rail, but then you open up the jump shot on the 3, and that's not an option here for FSR. Now, the reason he's kicking this way is he's kicking towards congestion with the 3, maybe gets a snooker this way. Didn't get the hook on the cue ball he wanted, and it's going to give up ball in hand.
Ball in hand. Please start the clock.
Interesting, he's going to draw into position here. Most players, oh, he's going to go for a 4-9. That makes more sense. Kind of just stunning down.
Well, we haven't seen many shots yet in this match. What we have seen, though, is 2 racks completed. Golden break in the first for Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. 4-9 combination in the second for Luong Duc Thien. And so it's 1-all. Wu Kunlin overcut the 2 along the rail in rack 3 against Sanjin Pelovanovic, and the young man from Bosnia and Herzegovina is at the table now looking for a 3-0 lead. Wu straight back out there after his hill defeat to Jason Shaw.
Yeah, and maybe the most dangerous player, in my opinion, anyways, in the event to, you know, get some confidence going, right? Young man playing well.
Rack 3. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz to break. Scores are tied, 1 rack each.
Well, his last break was golden. Let's see what he's got this time.
I think the 9 was actually kind of going in that direction again. Just got kissed. Took a little speed off that one, it seemed. A little lighter than FSR usually hits it.
Push out call.
It's going to push out to a jump, most likely. With the 2 pretty open. FSR's passed on a few jump shots. One yesterday that kind of baffled us in the booth, but
Francisco,
may not pass on this one.
Yeah, that was the one that cost him the match against Skylar Woodward.
Please reset the shot clock.
It meant he had lost 2 in a row at that stage, but has bounced back with 3 straight wins since then, and has only lost a total of 4 racks in those 3 matches. Thought he looked very good against Konrad Yasushин earlier today, winning 5-1.
Yeah, easy to bounce over the edge of this possibly because the 6 is so far away.
Extension called.
So he's got to carry the cue ball some distance and then get it down quickly. And just like that, and he didn't really hit it too wide, most likely. Probably just bounced over the edge of the 1.
Ball in hand. Please start the clock.
Bring the cue ball 1 rail between the 6-9. That'll offer a perfect angle to draw back for the purple 5 in the lower right. How many ball in hands has FSR had today? Quite a few, right?
I was just thinking that. I think the roots of his wonderful golden run go back to the latter months of 2021. We were getting to a stage where the international pool scene was getting properly back up and running again after the worst days of COVID. And he put together a really good sequence of results on the Euro Tour. Had never won one of those tournaments. Then he won 2 in a row and wasn't far away from winning the next one as well. Was a rack away from getting to the final. Victor Zielinski stopped him in his tracks. And then that fed into the very good start to 2022 and everything that's followed. It's always the conundrum. When you know you're a very good player, you need to find the confidence of being a tournament winner to kick on to more success. But of course, how do you become a tournament winner without the confidence? But somehow, he managed to solve that equation around about 18 months ago. He's been reaping the benefits ever since. So the break was dry, but it mattered not in the end as far as Francisco Sanchez Ruiz was concerned. And for the second time in the match, he's one ahead at 2 racks to 1.
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz wins the rack.
One break was golden, the other was dry. But Francisco Sanchez Ruiz still ended up winning both of those racks. Luong Duc Thien, though, took the one in between with a 4-9 combo.
Winning 2 racks to 1.
And that's why he's very much in it. 2-1 down as he breaks.
Well, a nice starter here on the 2. A little funny, I think, to get on the 3. We'll see, but going back to FSR, like to see from the start of that Euro Tour win in 2021 that you were talking about, what his match record is, wins and losses. Probably pretty incredible. Yeah, like you said, 1-2 and almost got to another final. And last year, one of the other, you know, I wouldn't call it necessarily a major like the U.S. Open or the World 9 Ball, but it's certainly one of the bigger events and a new one on the calendar. The UK Open, he finished second to Filler.
Well, he had an amazing week there because he lost his first match and he was 6-0 down in his second against Ashok Nathwani. Turned that one around, though, to win 9-8, and it was the first of 11 wins in a row that he had, culminating in victory over Shane Van Bonen in the semi-finals. But was just outlasted, really, by Joshua Filler. It was close enough until Filler came through stronger in the end. That was one of the highlights of last year, I thought. A great week at the Copper Box down there, where the Olympics were on back in 2012, and they'll be going back there in late May into early June.
And I think that was the first tournament where we really started to see the rule changes really start to take effect. And at the end of the event, you could tell that Filler and both FSR had earned it. Very wore out and put in a lot of work that week. So many great matches that week.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And the other thing that was great to see was the crowds turning out the way that they did. And I think it's a tournament which is only going to grow and grow.
Yeah, we're going to...
Sorry, JJ, just to say, if you want to go to the UK Open or any of the other events, get on to matchroompool.com and all the ticket details are there.
Yeah, adding a Jason Shaw Jr. event there this year, which is going to grow and grow along with all the other Matchroom events.
Yeah, entries for that have sold out as well now since yesterday. Some really young players in that, some of them only about 7 or 8 years of age.
Yeah, he told me about what sounded like pretty much a newborn that's going to be in the event.
I think it's going to get to the point where people are registering their unborn children to play in these tournaments.
Yeah, they just got to do a little math and a nice out here. Keep a little pressure on FSR.
Yeah, good response. And for the second time, he draws level. Now, over on the other table, Sanjin Pelovanovic was 3-0 up on Wu Kunlin. It's now 3-1, but you spotted something unusual going on there.
Yeah, he broke in the game 4 and rolled out opposite-handed, which had nothing to really do with it. But then Desi came in, and there was a question there on something. Maybe he didn't call the push out. I'm not sure, but he certainly questioned what she was getting involved in. And
yeah, that was Pelovanovic. He was the one who broke in that rack. Yeah.
Yeah, and he surrendered ball in hand and looked pretty baffled behind it. Oh, beauty there from Pelovanovic.
Rack 5.
So, interesting contest going on here.
Scores are tied, 2 racks each.
Yeah, that's more of the speed we're used to seeing. Is the 2 going to develop? It's not, but I bet he probably doesn't roll out here. I don't know. Maybe he's a little far away from it to play the kick and stick off the side rail, trying to use the 5 and 9 as blockers as the 2 gets sent around. Thing is, it's a hard one to roll out to improve the kick shot because you're probably not going to get it back. I probably have to go for the kick here. This is what, and this is where the difference in maybe playing Thien versus some other players, maybe not knowing him as well and his capabilities. Certainly not going to roll out like this against Shane or Filler or Sky or so many other great players because they're going to take this kick on. With 2 balls there, too, he's got a lot of room for error. Just doesn't want to catch it too thin. Lose the cue ball by the 6 in the upper right-hand corner. Just don't let up on the stroke. Oh, he hit it nice. Now, I thought he would play it firmer, trying to bang it around table. I mean, it was sitting in a premium position to do so, and I think he's left the 2, and he'll be behind the green 6 here shortly. Pretty doable 2-rail kick coming across the 2 ball, trying to send the cue ball up towards the 5-9. It's most likely the attempt he's going to make here.
Extension called.
It's the type of shot on the slick table, though. We've seen so many players come across on the high side and not hitting the 2. We'll see where he aims. Yeah, he's aiming downward a little bit. If he puts a lot of left spin, he's not going to hit this ball. Yeah, that's no good.
Foul stroke.
And so the ideal chance for Sanchez Ruiz to lead for the 3rd time in the match. And you know, if he wins this, he'll be on 6 wins at that stage. Now, really, I think 7 basically guarantees you progression to the 2nd phase. So at that point, it's almost as if he's turning his attentions to rack up enough wins that he won't need to do much in that 2nd phase to get through to phase 3. Last year, 15 was the mark over the course of the first 2 phases to then make it into that final day. All the wins carry forward.
I don't think he got where he wanted. Ideally with ball in hand. Now he's going to try and track 1 rail to the backside of the purple 5. It does go in the upper left corner and the side pocket. So this is just all a little bit of what I call it. Use your talent, your speed control, coming 1 rail into position.
Extension called.
players would ticky off the right side of the purple 5 trying to use the 6. I think he'll go off the left and run the cue ball. That's more of the shot I like. Chipping the 5 between the 6-9, trying to use the 7.
Sanjin Pelovanovic has put whatever that little incident was behind him to go 4-1 up on Woo Kun Lin.
And he kind of two-stroked that one. Looked like he was trying to spin the ball heavily, kind of hit the 5 full, knock it down table, and slow spin behind the 9 or the 6. I couldn't quite tell. Of course, we got the double kiss, so.
Oh, he's already had one chance to win this rack. I would suggest this is a better one.
And another big part of winning so much is being able to, you know, pull on the reins a little bit when you make a little bit of a mistake and not force it from there. And that's a common thing. We see it in golf a lot of times. The players, when they get in position and or out of position, they'll kind of force it a little bit. Same thing happens on the pool table, but FSR is really good between the ears.
And for the third time in this match, he leads by a single rack. It's now 3-2. And just looking at Pelovanovic leading 4-1, if he was to win that match, then he would go top of the table. He'd be level with Naoki Oi on 6 wins, and he'd be ahead of him on racks difference. But of course, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz could then leapfrog both of them, depending on the outcome of this one. Ultimately, though, it's not about where you finish. It's about being in that top 10. And then, after that, how many wins you have to your name to carry forward. Remember, 10 go through to the weekend. 6 from there will advance to Monday's play when a whole new round-robin section will start. But again, with all the wins carrying forward. And then the top 4 go through to the semi-finals next Monday night, which will be followed by the final. Albin Ocean was last year's champion.
He's broke the balls really well, but didn't hit him poorly here, but missed the one on the side. The 2's difficult. I'm not sure if the angle on the 1 really offers easy position on the 2, but FSR back at the table and a very easy starter on the 1. Looks like he can run through on the 1 to get out above the 9, you know, like this. Have the 2 in the upper left-hand corner. And not an easy rack, of course. He's got to do some work moving the cue ball, but he's in a good spot, that's for sure. Now he's looking to see, can I use the angle on the 3 to maybe draw the cue ball 1 rail back for the 4? He'd love to get straight on the 3, being able to draw the ball, but I'm not sure that's really offered with the 6 there. Well, that's what I was going to say. You could draw underneath this ball. That's what I looked at to begin with. Just because it offers so many ways to go forward, he may not get in the prime position, and he certainly didn't, but he can recover differently. You have to go short side here, Michael. This is kind of awkward. Kind of go at the 8 with the cue ball. Now the 5 does slide by the 7 with the 6 near. Should offer some type of easy position and a little stress-free.
Looks like the hardest part has been done, and should give himself a bit of breathing space for the first time in the match here.
Yeah, there's not much of that in a race to 5.
Indeed. It's all relative, though. I suppose when there's been one in it each way.
That's right.
That is the thing. You're never really out of it, even when you're 4-0 down. Although the alternate break format does make it harder to turn around a match even over that short distance. But yeah, I know what you're saying. You can never feel too comfortable when it's only race to 5.
Yeah, and, you know, for a player behind, you know, these games won mean something, even if you're losing matches at times. But just kind of like what FSR does. We talked about not taking days off. He doesn't take a shot off, really. I mean, gets into every shot, keeps his flow nice, and then pulls the trigger as well as anyone.
And one thing which hasn't happened yet is either player winning 2 racks in a row, but it has now, and that's why FSR will be breaking on the hill in a moment. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has been on a roll for about 18 months now, and he certainly is in this Premier League. 3 wins in a row, and 1 rack away from his 4th. He leads 4-2 against Luong Duc Thien, and he's got the break in rack 7.
It'd be interesting to me to see some, of course, the UK Opens and the US Opens later in the year, all the big events we're going to have. Of course, nothing wrong with this event here. Really unique and special, but just curious to see if FSR still holds and becomes the favorite, the pre-tournament favorite as the year goes on.
Yeah, well, much more of what he's been doing, and absolutely he will become the default favorite from one big event to the next. Over on 2, as you just saw there, Sanjin Pelovanovic of Bosnia and Herzegovina has beaten Wu Kunlin by 5 racks to 1. So that's 2 defeats in a row now for Wu, who had won 4 on the bounce prior to that. And as for Pelovanovic, he goes top of the table. He joins Naoki Oi on 6 wins, but he's ahead of him on the racks countback. However, he might only be top for a matter of minutes because Sanchez Ruiz can move back into first place, pending the outcome of this one.
Yeah, and I brought up that other point just because I was thinking about a player like Filler, for instance. You know, I mean, Filler seems like was the man there to beat, and now what's changed just besides FSR coming with all these wins? I think it has a little something to do with the break, the format, and you might say FSR is a little bit more of a complete player than Filler, and that shows up the way the rules are now and the way the game has gotten a little more difficult and more of the game shown.
Yeah, and results since the rule changes came in bear out what you're saying. You can't argue with those.
Just like stuff like this.
Just to go back to Filler for a moment, if people are wondering why he's not playing in this tournament, having been runner-up in it last year, he was invited but had already made travel plans to come back from the US and felt that it was too tight to get to Leicester in time to have a run at this. So I know he was very disappointed to miss it, but I'm sure we'll see him again in 2024.
Foul stroke.
You know, if you're wondering why that's a foul and 9-ball pool, you have to contact a rail.
Please start the clock.
After contacting the object ball. Or pocket a ball, of course.
Guess you have to touch the rail to pocket a ball, I suppose, if you count the pocket as part of the rail. But that could well be Luong Duc Thien's last act in this match. Sanchez Ruiz will still have one more match to go today. That'll be second on the main table tonight against Jason Shaw. A clash of two members of the winning Mosconi Cup team from last December. Luong Duc Thien still got two more matches against Alban Ocean and Sanjin Pelovanovic this evening.
And it wasn't a poor performance by Thien at all. Just didn't get as much time at the table, and really no mistakes from his opponent.
Yeah, and when you look at the way he's played across the two matches, and then you consider that as part of the run of 4 wins in a row, they've all been either 5-1 or 5-2. If indeed he does finish it here. Very encouraging signs yet again for the world number 1.
Yeah, he's trying to get all the way to the side rail pretty much to try and come some 1, 2, 3 rails and slide down for the 8. He's hit this thin. He needs contact on the 8, and he might get it. Didn't have the proper angle to really pull off the shot he wanted, and maybe overhit that a touch.
Extension called.
He's playing so well. He may take this on in the side. And the key to this shot, really, if you're feeling good now, is he going to elevate the cue, try to play the 9 as well? Looks like a level cue doesn't do much to the 9, but I like this shot. Just don't baby it so much. Hit it a little more. Feel like you're going to hit it more pure. Oh, he did have the 9. Wow.
Nice way to finish. 2 matches played today, 2 wins and 2 very good all-round performances. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is back on top of the Premier League.